single letter of Korean, but I see 4,700.
But Kasante copy pasta, it transcends. You know, it goes beyond language.
It is a block of Korean text with a couple very specific numbers in it.
Exactly.
Oh, there we go. APA
Boom.
Zigs.
Or
All right,
boom.
there's the card right there.
D9 have not banned it yet.
Oh boy. And Team Liquid, they got first pick. They can just slam the Zigs if they want.
Cloud9 are on red side, so it's a little bit more pinched, but come on.
All right. Yone,
I swear, if they
Glenn,
let it through
Silas.
and then TL wins, you're never going to hear the end of it. So what's happening is League of Legends, you know, we're playing best 5, Cloud9 Team Liquid, top of the LTA. Should be a marquee matchup here, and we're going to go to 4 games at least for sure.
Okay,
It's
so
available.
they banned the Yeon Lucian instead. I feel like that is also a comfort pick. Like it's not
That's
iconic
dangerous,
to the level of the APA Ziggs, but it is one of Yeon's flashiest champions. He's really, really good on it. I respect banning that one away. Neeko is another pick that APA has played plenty of times in the past. We've seen him be very creative on this champion, using the disguise capabilities of it very effectively. Maybe this is the pick. Maybe this is the comfort instead, and it looks like we are going to get that one locked in.
Also got to remember, could be down to support. It has become very popular in support as well. Though it's not really something I super associate with CoreJJ. There's still time. I agree. There's still time for Bard.
Maybe not a lot of time, but there is some.
There's some time.
Yeah. Got at least one more game
He
to
is
play.
locked in.
Focused up. Let's see what they want to go with first here on the C9 side. Still only on game 3, so Fearless has taken a few choices away, but there's still a lot of the meta options left on the table. And okay, Maokai.
Okay, so we have an early Maokai lock for Blaber. So yeah, I mean the Jace priority does go up. A lot of these AD mids go up. There you go, instantly going for Trist.
You know, with Skarner gone, he picks Maokai. It is kind of limiting some of the chance that Umti would be known about playing for. So it's like, when APA talked about how they would utilize this 6-man roster, he was saying Umti would come in, play the tank junglers, play that supportive style, and then when Yuuji came in, he would play the carries. Well, Skarner is gone, now Maokai is gone. There is still Sejuani available if you want to force a tank. We don't know for sure that that's what he's actually going to do, but that is what we have been told he is going to do.
Okay, blind Yorick lock for Impact.
This is definitely spooky. You know, we talked about this yesterday. We did see the Mordekaiser as an answer. That's true. But Aurelia to me is always something I think of when I think of horrible, horrible, horrible matchups. I don't know that Thanatos is going to feel confident to play it, but really anything that is quite mobile and has dashes that can play around in the top lane can be very difficult for the Yorick.
I love pairing it with a Nocturne because Yorick's always trying to split push, and so you get your Nocturne to cover it, so you can cover. Some of these matchups you're talking about are so risky if you get camped by jungle, and if they do kill it. So I really actually like that Nocturne lock-in for Umti for Team Liquid. Nice kind of answer. Plus, they're keeping the Neeko as the flex.
Ooh.
A lot of playmaking there.
This is the exact same matchup as they had last time when they played, where Thanatos Flame Horizoned him. So it definitely did not go well for Impact last time, and it looked to me like Impact hadn't really gotten enough games on the champ to super understand some of the kind of little small details about, you know, controlling the maiden and things like this. And so Thanatos has it up and available. He's going to go right back to it, and we'll see if Impact can run back this same matchup and do better than last time.
And I mean, we talked about it earlier in the series about how Thanatos does have this pool of champions and he really likes playing, and a lot of them are very meta picks, and Gnar is one of them. This guy knows how to pilot this champion very skillfully. As we jump into the second half of the bans, and Orianna will be the first one here for C9, so they're saying that they do think that Neeko probably going down to the support role for CoreJJ, targeting the mid lane pool for APA instead, as Team Liquid will ban out the Ziggs themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's because they see the Tristana, you know, AD mid, and you're like, well, Maokai's not always enough magic damage, so they probably, or could, look for some more magic damage from their bottom side of the map. So that's why, you know, they themselves ban the Ziggs. As funny as it is to see a TL Ziggs ban, it is justified.
When I do that, I'm just blaming my teammates. I'm saying, I've seen you play that, and I don't want to see that again.
Oh yeah, we can't afford to have this on the team today.
Yeah, exactly. Kai'Sa going to be taken away here from Yeon. Of course, again, makes sense. You're showing a lot of dive here with the Neeko, with the Nocturne. You know, Kai'Sa would be an AD that would pair really well alongside that.
Okay, let's see what our last ban here for TL is. Do they want to focus something else? It might be an AP threat down in the bot lane. No, they're just going to go with one of those threats that, armor or not, can bulldoze through you if the ulti setup is there. So Misfortune and Ziggs, your second half bans from TL, Orianna and Kai'Sa from C9, and they are going to lock in the Senna for the infinity scaling.
Something I also really like about Senna is you talked about Nocturne, the ability to attack in the side lanes. Senna doesn't need to be able to see on the map because you can ping where the Nocturne is ulting. You can Senna ult across map even during that Nocturne ult to help out your Gnar if he's getting attacked in the side lane. So I think it's actually a really good pick. And some of the most common pairings are things like the Nautilus, which is still up and available. Hasn't actually been played thus far, isn't banned out. So you can easily get a strong support pairing there too. And I do really like the Senna. I mean, especially because you're pairing it with the Tristana. Like, it needs some sort of high DPS with it. It is kind of like more poke until you get a ridiculous amount of souls.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Nautilus. I like these engage picks with the Senna. You could also do a Blitzcrank, another engage support with Maokai, and have that combo. The classic Maokai ultimates and hooks to pull people in.
I will say I like Blitz as a pairing, but against the Yorick, the Yorick with all this crap in front and Neeko clone and stuff, it's like there's so much stuff that is just gonna block your skill shots, man.
Yorick Mori, infamous purveyor of crap on summoners.
It's like, when you play against Neferi and you're trying to hit skill shots and the dogs are blocking everything.
I feel you.
There's a whole zoo out there, man.
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Yeah. There's a lot of crap on my screen. I don't want to hook any of it.
Accurate description. And so they do go with the Nautilus. The point and click ultimate can, go under.
It goes past the crap.
It goes under all the crap.
The depth charge can defeat the power of crap that Team Liquid can summon through the Yorick. So, okay, we've got the Senna Nautilus duo down there in the bottom lane. Maokai and Nautilus,
in the sewer.
Powerful engage. Over on the other side, I really got my eyes on Umpty on the Nocturne in this one. We've already talked about how he needs to come in here, and hopefully that's a mental reset for TL to bounce back after that rough game 2, but also the pressure's on for him. Non-subscribers, we'll see you in 30 seconds, but for everybody else, the Nocturne ulti, we always talk about this character. Your first ult on Nocturne, you need that to be impactful. The cooldown is so...
One anyway, but it's one of those things where he has to show that he can make this Yorick worthwhile, because Yorick is not a team fighter. Like, you have to win your 1v1. You just have to, or you don't really contribute much to the game whatsoever.
Well, we'll see. How heavy is Impact's shovel this game? Is this a concussion causer in the top lane? Because it's going to need to be.
It's got a nice skin for it. Nice little chroma down there. So
that's at least
Kobe's giving him a check so far.
Good start.
You gotta look good to play good. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So let's
Success starts with the right skin.
What do we get here at level 1? Loki gonna walk right into the brush, but he's got the rocket jump, jumps right back out. Yes, the clock has moved far forward enough that he can't go back to base, get the recall, get the full heal, but because he has the rocket jump, he doesn't take an absurd amount of damage.
Yeah, he doesn't take a huge amount of damage, doesn't lose his summoner, doesn't lose his life, but you are now starting W level 1, so you're gonna have to lose the push there, and he is down a couple hundred health, right? So it's minus a potion in a bit, so APA gonna be pretty happy about it, even though it doesn't result in any sort of a big kill. That being said, APA did start E there to try to actually lock him down, so it's not as big of an advantage as it normally would be.
And I think for me, so far, Loki has been my front runner for player of the series so far in this series, so we'll see if APA can step up and answer him. But right now, we've got Kangas standing by for an interview with Team Liquid coach Spawn.
Thank you very much. I'm here with Spawn. Spawn, the big story has been Yuuji versus Umpty. Now we have Umpty in for game number 3. I want to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a couple of junglers up that Umpty's really good at the moment, like a very high priority on Nocturne, Maokai, Sejuani at this stage of the draft. I think there's a Umpty specialist champion, so it makes sense to play him.
I mean, that was the big idea behind the 6-man roster, was that you can utilize those champ pools. How prepped were you coming into the series that this is something that you'd be pulling out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every single game this week, actually, we opened scrims with Yuuji 1-2 and Umpty 3, regardless of results. So this is pretty much how we thought the series was going to go. So that's what we thought.
All right, cool. How confident? Can you give everybody at home something to believe in? We won a game 4. We haven't had a game 4 in Best of 5 Fearless left. Do you think this is the one?
I mean, I hope it's a 1. We got to start somewhere, right? We've got a pretty big hole that we dug ourselves into. So let's see if we can force a game 4.
All right, well, Team Liquid fans will be cheering for you. That's it from us. Back to the casters.
As far as Umpty Nocturne does go, I expect him to go with the standard Stride Breaker Nocturne build, but it is worth mentioning that there is a new solo queue build that I've been seeing a lot where people actually take the Inspiration Tree second for triple tonic, and they do an 8 camp clear, sell off the triple tonic, so you have enough for a BF sword on first back, and then you can actually do first item Yuntao. But, of course, expect him to go with the Stridebreaker build, as we said, because he has not gone Utility Tree, just has gone the standard Ultimate Hunter here for Nocturne, and standard full clear for Nocturne. So he might actually go for a little bit of a scuffle around the first crab, as Maokai will join up.
Yeah, Blaber's going to start up the crab and immediately secure it with the Smite Bramble Smash combo before Umpty can move in and steal it away. Generally, when you look at a jungler 1v1, you expect Nocturne to smack Maokai around, so Blaber, nice job there securing what he needs and getting out, as Vulcan's on the losing side of a trade with Yeon and Core down here in the bot lane.
Yeah, and you can see Blaber is actually moving over towards this other scuttle, so he's considering just contesting both. He has his Smite, so he has another charge of Smite available here. Either that or it was Umpty's Smite on the previous one, so he's ready to go, and he's going to actually double scuttle, so going to be feeling really good.
Meanwhile, bottom lane, the 2v2 keeps on going. Blaber secures that topside crab. Vulcan gets ignited, uses his own heal in response, so support non-flash summoners used on both sides.
This is just going exceptionally well for Blaber. I mean, Maokai Q is very OP, but still, getting both scuttles here, back into his reverse clear. Talk about 8 camp clears. He's going to get a 9 camp clear for his first clear. It is amazing for the Maokai.
Yeah, I mean, his first base, he's going to have like 1,300 gold, and we are assuming he's going to go AP. He would be solo AP, so is going to be, really accelerating that clear.
And look at what we got here today. C9 in their disastrous loss last week against FlyQuest. Score looked like that. Thanatos tries to flash away from Impact, who flashes first. Unless you flash first on the Gnar, as soon as he starts swinging that shovel, it buffers through and you're dead. Impact with the solo kill for the first time this split.
You were asking how heavy is that shovel? It's looking pretty big. Gets him right over the head there. Takes down Thanatos, gets the flash as well. Barely had enough mana for that final Q and is able to finish him off. I said he had to win lane. You called it out. That's his first solo kill of the split. First regular season in his career, he didn't get one. First series in playoffs, grabs it, gets the early tabbies here, and he's going to be feeling good.
It is so hard now for Gnar to work through that defense. The tabbies early with the shield, with the extra regeneration from biscuits and potions still in inventory for Impact. This is worlds better than the first time that they played this matchup, and now he can look to try and abuse it.
Impact just chases him down there, use the cage, force out the hop.
And now that you force the hop here, if you can get another trade, you can summon the Maiden and really get some damage down. But of course, Thanatos is going to respect that. He's just going to play back. But this prio does earn them the dragon here. Umpty is over on it. Blaber is moving in the area, but without prio bot, without prio mid, there's no real chance I think he fully commits to this.
Yeah, this is total TL control over the bot side river. Blaber's still hanging around. Maybe he tries to chuck a sapling in there, but as long as Umpty has smite, this one should be...
That made me nervous.
Okay, that
made me nervous.
That was way too close for what it should have been. But that is now 3 out of 3 games that Team Liquid gets the first Drake.
If you early smite and no one's around to see it,
he was right there.
Did you early smite?
He was watching.
Yeah, he saw it. We saw it. They saw it. A lot of people saw it.
Okay, okay.
Thanatos finds a nice usage of the Gnar ulti there onto Impact to scoop him into the turret range, find some quick trades on him, hits him with a wallop yet again, crunch forward, and a Q straight to the face. Now Umpty's going to die for free in the follow-up. Team Liquid, oh no! Double kill over to Thanatos after the early solo death, as Zven and Vulcan now have to continue trying to disengage up here in the top lane. APA is coming up to try to join. At least they're going to force the flash out of Vulcan, but you're only getting a flash from C9 when C9 got 2 kills in the bottom lane.
I mean, that is so rough, and it's a 160-second cooldown on the Maiden that only starts after it dies. And he summoned it as he was losing that fight, so not only do you lose your advantage in the side lane, now you have well over 2 minutes where you can't pressure the Gnar whatsoever, and just like that, his lead is gone and he's at a huge deficit.
So if you early smite and thousands of people see it, then you and your top laner instantly die.
Yeah, that's the punishment.
That's what we've learned.
It's very severe consequences.
But honestly, it's like this 1v1 is very important, but also the Maokai being level 6, Blaber's lead really does matter in the chase down. Starting out, though,
Killed himself
Thanatos,
for the cannon. Worth. Got it.
there you
Plus
go.
one.
I mean, yeah, it's right in front of the turret, so Thanatos even got him into range for a tower shot.
Yep.
Then, as you say, you sudden the maiden, so then really bad afterwards there, too. But then Blaber here, really nice. Q flashes over him and has the ultimate because of his previous level 6, and so they get the double kill back over to Thanatos. So even though you got the solo for impact, your glory days are so short-lived as you immediately got shut down there.
Yeah, it's like you're going on your victory lap and you trip and fall and roll your ankle, and it's tough.
That's a rough one there, but at least it looks like Team Liquid is going to control the neutrals early on in this one on both sides of the Rift once more. They've already got all 3 of the Void Grubs.
Yeah, and something else we hadn't checked in on, obviously, is the fact that Yeon, early call here, he's playing the Zeri, scales incredibly well itself, and is up, a little bit of gold there, about 300 in the advantage right now before having actually cashed that call in. APA obviously doing fine in the mid lane there against Loki. So things, definitely not out of control by any means yet for TL, but it's definitely a bit of a sinking feeling when you start to fall behind in the 1v1 as Yorick.
Yeah,
this is a bit of a tough one right now. Hey, they are even on flowers, 1-to-1 on flower petals.
Huge.
Here, nice and early.
I love the search around for the screen for something here.
I am doing my due diligence, looking for these different elements of the game of League of Legends, Mr. Kobe.
We've got a 1-to-1. We've got a good tie here.
Thanatos does not have a lot of Gnar bar to try to jump in, but C9 is bringing the whole team down here bottom lane for a bit of a party. Umpty is going to see Vulcan lurking there in the jungle, and with that bit of vision, that means that C9's plan is found out. Team Liquid can take a defensive position, but Thanatos teleports up into the top lane to get some free pressure.
Exactly. Impact did not have his TP, and he got delayed a number of times there as C9 was stepping forward, so he should be able to get up there to collect most of this wave, but will still lose a little bit of farm and a play potentially if Thanatos wants to play for it. He's not going to be greedy, though. He will reset because he didn't base before TPing top, so wants to spend that gold and just keep his pressure on the map.
And I want to point out Blaber here on the Maokai, hovering around because they know that Umpty's on bottom side with Nocturne already. They've got good wards, inside the Krug camp, up towards the top of Raptors too. And so he's done such a good job on this Maokai, following, mirroring this this Nocturne, as well as even staying above him a slight bit in camps.
And I mean, we heard from the interview with Spawn that he was talking about how, Maokai, Nocturne, Sejuani, these types of champions that are still up. This is Umpty's wheelhouse, so they're happy to bring Umpty in right now. But Blaber has an insane lifetime win rate on Maokai. This is one of the iconic Blaber champions, and this is just another game kind of showcasing why. The early crab control, being able to outplay Umpty in the river as they're both approaching that 1v1 between their top laners in that bottom lane fight. He's just where he needs to be on the champ.
Yep, he is looking good so far and is closing in on that Leandries. Umpty, I think a lot of pressure on him to be able to make this first ultimate really pay dividends. He's got to get something done with that. He's sitting at level 8 now, hasn't found an opportunity to actually use it, thanks to, largely in part, those deep wards that you've been talking about. And we want to see him find some way. If Thanatos uses his jump aggressively in the side lane, maybe you can look for a play there.
Oh, Loki jumps back and flashes away from APA, who thought he might have had him there on the flank with a Pop Blossom. So at least they get the flash out of the C9 mid laner. They're going to get the teleport from both mid laners, though, as APA TP'd in to try to make that move.
Well, you did actually force the flash. It's going to be hard to fight the Dragon now because APA with his ulti is very weak by comparison.
Okay, let's see if Team Liquid can force this, or if C9 will successfully challenge, as immediately a ton of damage onto Blaber, just disrespectfully walking up, and Team Liquid explode him.
I swear, this brush, when you're approaching dragon fights, that thing is key. That is #1 objective when approaching. All these guys getting killed, flashing out of that brush, getting these engages. This time around, it's actually TL making the snap engagement, as Blaber approaches the dragon, and they're the ones that leave no room. It's kind of the opposite of what we saw in the first game.
Exactly, and this 6-man roster is just one of a number we've seen in the years here. These notable 6-man rosters, the Sword and Shield with Impact and Ray. We've had, Blaber and Svenskeren rotating through, Jensen and Golden Glue rotating through with the Swole Bros, one of their famous comebacks, coming in when they were down 3-1, being able to make it happen. And a lot of these teams have actually worked out pretty well. We are very early days, obviously, in this Umpty and Yuuji roster here, but it's going to be able to be really interesting to see how this does work out. Does this become something that is long-term? Do they move towards one player more as a full-time thing if they're playing better?
CoreJJ thought he was moving around to make a play here on Thanatos, but Blaber is ready to join and make it an honest 2v2. Vulcan joins up, again putting the numbers in the favor of C9. Blaber going forward with a twisted advance, and the feat of warfare is claimed by C9 as 2 kills are instantly picked up. Loki versus APA is going Loki's way for now, as APA just does not have the tools to try to fight back just yet. Yeon showed up, but the Zeri doesn't have enough damage yet to really impact anything.
CoreJJ, in their series versus Shopify, he basically solo won the game, invading like that and going super deep. But this series, he has had back-to-back picks where he is extremely deep in enemy territory, no backup at all, and also not really accomplishing a lot. So it's a very high risk with very low reward and keeps getting punished for it. Let's see about this red buff. Blaber at least secures that one as well, though.
Yep, he does grab it. And it is going to be the experimental hex plate here for so not Strikebreaker first, but this obviously does give you more ulti CDR, is a lot of power, gives you additional move speed, and does allow you to duel very effectively during that ultimate.
And the reason a lot of people don't like this one is because it does allow you to get more ults off, but it is less threatening when you do go for them. So if he can get off a bunch of ults and you're actually using your R like on cooldown, then it is very, very good. If not, then yeah, not so good.
Yeah, I mean, Strikebreaker is just so nice at getting you the fear tether, right? You get in there, you slow them down, you have the additional move speed following your Q path. But we'll see if they can make it happen. Cull's getting cashed out across the map. Yeon obviously very strong, but showed up to that fight, as you said, Flowers, and it's like there's 3 beefy C9 members. You can't really E into the middle of all of them. You're just going to die. So now we've kind of gone back into this slower stage of the game here, where Impact is trying to get Prio in that side lane. Doesn't have his ulti right now, though, so it's just, again, becoming a real problem. I mean, he's down 1.3K. It's kind of turning into a bit of a repeat of that last matchup.
I mean, they both got a pair of red shoes, except Thanatos has a Trinity Force and Impact has the parts of a Trinity Force. Pretty distinct difference in power there for the C9 top laner. He'll kill off the ghouls as he kites them out, fights them out, and we've got the Rift Herald spawning here in about 5 seconds. You can see APA hanging around that topside river, but Loki, Blaber, Zven, and Vulcan also all nearby on the other side, as Zven's going to get this mid lane wave shoved up. First item online for both AD carries is the static shield for the additional wave clear, and Blaber's going to start up the Herald.
Well, they do have Umpty rotating over, so this very well could be the answer.
JJ eats the damage from the initial sapling there from Blaber. There's your vision plant. Vulcan goes fishing, but he does not find anybody with the dredge line. C9 still looking to make sure they can secure this Herald. There's your paranoia. Umpty jumps in, but the Herald is going to be slain by Loki. Now C9's got to be careful. Big 3-man pop blossom. Team Liquid finally finds what they're looking for as Zven, Vulcan, and Thanatos all got to try to get away. Thanatos teleported to join the fight, but C9 still lost it. Now Impact gets to slam the bottom lane tier 1 turret.
They lost everything. Not only do they lose that fight, but Thanatos got his teleport off as the Nocturne ultimate was procced, so they also lose bottom lane. That is an absolute catastrophe for Cloud9. TL reaps so many rewards. They win the entire map in that sequence.
And they get feats off of that first tower that Impact is grabbing, so that was so big, and actually closing the gap a little bit down there. Impact now at least gets his Triforce. This is huge for TL. They're going to be able to get the top tier 1 as well. They're opening up a pretty big gold lead, and look at where the gold is mostly at. It's on Yeon, it's on the Zeri. He's going to be very, very powerful at this point. Will easily have his 2 items when he goes back to base here, you have to think. And we can watch this one more time. You're thinking, okay, with this teleport coming in for Thanatos, it could go really well for Cloud9, but they just go right in. They're able to get this massive pop blossom on multiple members. They couldn't really see the approach because of the Nocturne ultimate. It buys so much space for Yeon, so TL just flood in and wipe C9 off the map.
That was so beautiful from Umpty and APA. As you say, with the cover of darkness, he slips in. APA got the ult into the double root as well on both of them, into the fear. They win the fight before this mini Gnar even arrives, and then when the mini Gnar arrives, you're not scared of that thing at all. So 2 towers, plus the fight, plus the Herald. Team Liquid, well, kill the Herald, at least. Dragon being started up by Cloud9.
The Herald was the only thing C9 got out of that fight, and they will use it as a distraction here in mid lane while they try to fight for this third Drake of the game. Team Liquid going in for the engage as CoreJJ starts it off, but there's no follow-up. The Leona is already killed. Umpty's ready to jump in now, but Thanatos and the rest of C9 are looking to peel. The shutdown for Loki as Umpty falls, but Yeon is flying into the back line. C9 is falling left, right, and center, and Yeon's the one knocking them down. Team Liquid lost 2 for 2 so far, but Impact's looking to win them the fight now with an extra kill on Blaber. A little bit more damage will seal the deal, and TL came to play in Game 3.
The early moments of that fight looked tough for TL as CoreJJ was kind of in there by himself, then Umpty flies in, but the space they create for Yeon when APA goes forward, it buys him the time to get the damage out to win this fight.
Yep, I mean, Cloud9 have 2 AD carries, but Yeon has 2 items, and both the C9...
Quality over quantity.
Exactly. Cloud9, each AD carry only has 1 item, and the Zeri pops off. So here's another look at it. As they go for the initial engage, it does kill CoreJJ. Then the Nocturne ultimate into the follow-up. APA locks up the front line, and Yeon is able to chain through all of them, pushing them all off. Impact then chasing Blaber down on the other side of the screen, and that should be TL as well, picking up that 3rd dragon in the aftermath. So they are keeping that dragon stacking alive. They are keeping that dragon soul very early into this game.
Yeah, I mean, it is looking really good now for TL. Yeon in such a strong point of the game, how aggressively he's moving, and we're going to watch Thanatos potentially go down as he has to flash out. I mean, Yeon, flash forward, killed off the Nautilus. Honestly, could have killed Zven and Loki as well if he didn't get Buster Shot away. They had to use that defensively as he cleansed the center route. C9, though, going to try to trade on the other side of the map. We'll be able to get this tier 1 top at the very least. But Impact now, from being down 1.4K, has clawed his way back off of some of these fights. Did get quite a bit of gold from the tower on bot after that one fight, and then picked up a kill on the back end of this one.
And I want to give praises to APA as well, especially after how much of a disaster game number 2 was with the desperate Ahri dive under the turret and just the obvious frustration he was experiencing there. Getting him on this comfort pit, getting him on this Neeko here in this 3rd game. The Pop Blossoms have been so impactful in the Rift Herald fight, creating space for this 3rd Drake fight like we were already talking about. I feel like his presence is seriously enabling Yeon to pop off the way that he has, and this strategy is working for Team Liquid.
Certainly is, and the Nocturne ultimate going to come back up very quickly after that one too, so they can again return to the map, put so much pressure because these outer towers have all been taken care of for the side of Team Liquid. There is just so little safe space now for Cloud9 to keep farm funneling into their double AD carries here in the Tristana and the Senna. They have to be very careful as they're rotating around the map. You could fall prey to a Neeko disguised as a minion plus a Nocturne ult coming through, and Zeri's actually a very good AD carry at following up on those plays with her mobility.
And because Zven for a lot of this game has just been kind of tasked with picking up waves, he hasn't really been skirmishing much. He doesn't actually have a tremendous amount of souls. I mean, he's at 47 stacks right now, just over 20 minutes into the game, so it's going to take him quite a long time. If you're thinking, well, maybe Senna can carry late game, kind of like we saw with Masu, that was when he was at like 140, 150 stacks. That is so far into the future if he can't start picking them up more consistently. I do really like the Black Cleaver here from Senna, though. Being able to shred for both the Tristana and the Gnar, I do think is quite effective. And we'll see. TL could pull Otacon. It's spotted, though.
So TL does have a little bit over a 2,000 gold lead, but the important thing is the 2-item power spikes are still there for a lot of their C9 counterparts, right? You can see the 2nd item completed for Thanatos with the Sterix. Infinity Edge was just purchased by Loki. Otacon started up by TL, but C9 is nearby. Blaber thinking about the approach here, got Vulcan and Loki right next to him.
They're giving.
But C9 is just deciding to surrender the Otacon. They do not want to take this fight where Team Liquid is already set up in the river, so that's TL claiming the big objective.
I think really hard to approach through that tri-brush, when APA has flash, when Nocturne has all, you have all these cooldowns available, so they say, you know what, we're just not even going to risk it. We're just going to take the tower on bot side for Thanatos and look for a better opportunity later on. That being said, though, this makes TL a little bit stronger here, get that XP, get the additional adaptive force going into this dragon where they have a chance at soul in just 2 minutes.
So I said it earlier as a joke with the flowers being tied at 1-1, but it is worth pointing out that even after taking the Otacon, the flowers are still pretty much even, 20 versus 19. C9 had been collecting more of them thus far, so when TL just had the big collector thing from killing the Otacon itself, it brought that back to a more neutral state.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's not like the old one where 30 flowers spawn that you can then, you know, kind of just gather yourself. It just gives you whatever is on the map and buffs up the ones that you already have. So it does, of course, have some power there, gives you some experience, gives you some AD and AP, but they are looking for Vulcan.
Now Vulcan walking away, though. CoreJJ already spent the Solar Flare, but now he's going to be locked up by the Senna. Defensive Nocturne ulti looking to save CoreJJ as he barely escapes, but no, Loki is ready to hunt him down, and that's a big mistake from the Team Liquid support. But now a nice catch there onto Thanatos means that C9's front line takes some damage on the way back out, but Blaber has made a move towards Impact. The depth charge chases him down, and Vulcan flashes over the wall. Team Liquid with some critical blunders.
Cloud9 as well with just some bloodthirst here. They see an opportunity, they full send because they know they do not want to let Team Liquid buy the time to set up for the Dragon. It's coming in just over a minute, so they want to get as many kills as they possibly could there. The issue is you still have another 50 seconds, and so TL will revive. They still get to spend their money, and they still get to return and try and invest in some vision for themselves. We'll see if those flashes end up being critical, because those were, you know, Blaber's flash and Vulcan's flash, you know, invested to try and go get those kills. But Impact also tried to get away with his, so we'll see if Cloud9 can repeat here. They've got the pre-existing control wards. Vulcan's back in place.
And Impact won't have his ulti for this fight now, right? Because that is gone. So that is actually a really big knock-on effect of that. You know, Core committed so much to trying to kill Vulcan there, and Vulcan just shut it down with one hook, you know, interrupting the Zenith Blade. And now they're posturing here around mid lane. Both teams going to try to play through mid. does have his ult, and APA has everything ready, so they're going to have to try to look for an engage, and they've spotted Thanatos.
Thanatos with about 80% of the Gnar bar, ready to transform when the fight breaks out. C9 with control over the bot side river for now, but this has been such a difficult position to fight in for them so far with the power of the Nocturne, of the Neeko, of the Zeri combination with those ultis. C9 controlling the banana brush, just like Kobe said that you need to if you're going to be making a fight around the Drake. Team Liquid looking for their opportunity to potentially go in, maybe fight for the Drake, but it's already secured by Blaber and C9, and it looks like they aren't really wanting to fight here just yet. Thanatos does transform into Mega Gnar, so that means C9 has to back away because they do not want to fight with that ticking down.
Exactly. There wasn't really a good angle for a fight, so I think that is correct. Impact still didn't have his ult, so Yeon just takes the push mid. They're going to move topside, try to steal away a couple of these jungle camps potentially, and that is going to be their slight reward. But at the same time, someone has to get back and answer Loki. You cannot be giving these side lane tier 2s. ISO gold is so much, especially for a strong scaling character like the Tristana, already on 2 items. They're just going to say, you know what, you're going for that, we're going for Baron, but I think C9 is going to be pretty wise to this.
Okay, Team Liquid starting up the objective, but they don't do it particularly quickly. Thanatos has no Gnar bar. The Maiden of the Mist is back alive. Loki teleporting up to join the fight now, and the Baron is already down to below 4,000 HP. Team Liquid looking to secure it, but Blaber jumps in to steal the Baron at the 11th
APA!
Everybody on a killing spree, and APA goes into the back line looking to find the kill on Zven. Umpty chasing after the carry, and Yeon has got 2! They may have lost the Baron, but Team Liquid's winning the fight. Thanatos will be the third to fall as Team Liquid chases him down.
Still looking for him as he's trying to use the Baron and Power Recall, but he is eventually gonna go down. Meanwhile, the Tristana runs through the tier 2 towers to try and get out. Loki with another blast cone. Him and Vulcan will be the only ones to escape with the Baron buff.
The heroics from APA, though, this game have been incredible. As Blaber, even with the Nocturne ult there, even without, you know, a lot of assistance on this, he just kind of walks in and is able to knock down the Baron. Let's see how low it gets when the smites do come out. It's at 2,000 HP. When do they go for the burst? There's the W forward to get in range, and then Q, smite, both of them coming out at the same time. Both junglers using their smite, but Blaber does secure it. But this engage from APA is what saves it from being an unmitigated disaster. They buy the space. Yeon finds an angle to just slide past Thanatos and get right in the back line.
And then Loki actually used his ultimate on Tristana to knock Umpty away from him, but he knocked 2 people right next to Zven then. And then they just assassinated Zven as Yeon jumped over the wall to follow through there too. So they were able to take down the other carry. Even though he was able to slink away through the rest of the map. Still, though, the Baron steal itself is massive from Blaber. He's able to combo his Q and his smite. And Cloud9, with 2 members wearing the buff, they can actually still siege.
Okay, Blaber fires off the ulti to create some space so that C9 can force down the tier 1 turret, but they do not want to over-push. Impact and APA both waiting on the flank to punish if they did.
Yeah, Yeon bought his Vamp Scepter after completing his first 2 items, but then had so much gold that he decides, you know what, I'm just going to sit on the Vamp. I don't need a BT right now. Go straight towards that IE. So Zeri is fully online at this point. A 3,000 gold advantage over Zven right now, who still only at that 65 soul mark, is not going to be that super carry threat for a very long time. As long as TL can make sure Yeon is hitting and create space for him, the rest almost doesn't even matter. Like, they just have to enable this guy, and he can solo win you fights.
All right, only 30 seconds left on the Baron. You can see only plus 600 on your Red Bull Baron power play here for C9. The default is 1,500 just when you take the objective itself, but that's what happens when you immediately get slammed in the fight right after securing the objective. And Azael, the way that you worded it earlier, I think was accurate, that APA saved that fight from being a disaster for Team Liquid, but at the same time, Blaber saved it from being a total disaster for C9, because if TL got the 3 kills and they won the Smite fight, all of a sudden it's a Team Liquid bulldozer heading straight for the C9 structures.
Yeah, exactly. They would pick up so many advantages off of that. So Blaber with a game-changing play, and C9 trying to reclaim some vision here, but there are multiple members in that side brush.
Death brush for TL. Doesn't catch anyone yet.
Okay, Umpty and APA will just take their exit here. Core and Yeon both hanging out nearby as Impact is going to be marching down mid lane. They're getting set up. You can see the recalls happening right now. They want to be ready to make whatever purchases they can and then show up for the Drake. This is Soul if Team Liquid takes it.
And they definitely are going to be looking for it. Loki just going to jump aggressively here, looking for a little bit of chip onto Impact, but does have quite a bit of armor at this point. You can see most of the players on TL do have their upgraded shoes.
Yeah, Team Liquid not going to take a ton of damage there from that Trist just yet. Although Loki does have 3 fully completed items, one of them is not Lord Dominic's Regards, so it is more difficult to punch through these tankier frontliners of TL. C9, though, they know that there's 10 seconds left on the Drake. They want to have control over the pit, control over the banana brush. Their control ward is going to be removed by TL in the mid lane side brush now, as immediately the Scuttle Crab is secured. The vision blasting out shows them where TL is. APA off to the side there. C9's got to keep an eye on him if they want to be able to have a chance here in the fight. As Blaber fires off the ulti, the Dragon's not dead yet. It's going to be secured by Blaber now, but Yeon is not in the fight any longer. C9 scrambling to try to get away as Team Liquid is looking to take another fight. Damage over the wall from Zven, though. Finds the kill into APA, but TL still winning for now. Thanatos with the hero moves over the wall, but he can't find Yeon. He gets him with the Q. The Gnar for the win for C9 to take the fight. They come out on top. A triple kill for Thanatos. It's a 4 for 2 so far for C9, and they want to make it an ace. Impact trying to fight these guys off in a 1 versus 3, but it's more like a 2v3. The Maiden's about to kill Zven. Impact trying his hardest, trying to fight these guys off, but no, the ace and the Dragon for C9.
That buster shot that knocked Yeon over the wall, I think there, was so critical from Loki. We have to watch this one more time because in goes Umpty, and Blaber again with the smite secure was absolutely massive. Thanatos was coming on this angle here. Umpty dies off pretty much immediately, but watch as Yeon goes in. He just gets sent back over the wall here. That buster shot pushed him out of the fight and meant he was not a big contributor. So as he re-enters, Thanatos is able to find him.
And that was just as Loki got burst down. With his dying breaths, he kicks the other carry out of the fight, and Thanatos then has room to work with. The Gnar cleans up. The final fight here of Impact and his Maiden versus Zven and Vulcan, the 2 duos going after each other, eventually gets turned with a 3rd member as well, and Thanatos joining. But Cloud9, massive stuff for this squad. They came back and they're still doing it.
No one's there though.
Nobody is there.
That's
APA
Baron.
gets picked off. That is a 50-second death timer. He had just used his teleport as well, so even if he comes back to life, he's got to hoof it all the way over here.
I think their only hope is that Thanatos also has no GP. He got kind of chunked, so they're thinking maybe APA has him low enough that we can fight.
Okay, Vulcan dredgelining away from TL. The 4-man approach towards C9, who have already got the Baron, down to about half HP.
No flash on
Blaber
Yeon.
flashing forward to follow his own ulti, as immediately Cloud9 are ready to send it. Thanatos into the back line, going after Yeon, stuns him up here with the wall of the lightning crash. Yeon tries to run, but Loki hunts him down. C9, clean ace.
Huge stuff from them. They knew since they got the pick and they still had Maokai ultimate, they just start up the Baron with all intention to turn off of it. That ace is going to lead them right into the base.
They're trying to potentially look for an end here. They're not even going for the Baron. It's only APA that's going to be respawning. Long timers on everyone else. They got that kill. Are they going to be able to take the series here?
And you can see them using Vulcan and Blaber to tank the turret instead of losing the potential minion wave. As long as they have the minions, they can keep going forward. 10 seconds on CoreJJ, 15 on Umpty and Yeon. C9 continue their push towards the Nexus turret. APA goes in for the Pop Blossom, looking to clear out the wave, but the ace is there for C9. They've still got a couple of minions left. CoreJJ trying to throw everything at him to stop this push, but C9 will not be held here. Umpty can't do enough damage into the back just yet, and C9 3-0 Team Liquid.
What a comeback from Cloud9 in that final game. TL having some great moments. Yeon getting put into a really good position, but those last two fights were massive from Cloud9. Loki buster shotting Yeon over the wall, and then Thanatos killing him off by that dragon fight, and then that fight over by Baron. APA gets caught. Yeon has no flash, so Thanatos just full sends it, flashes on him, stuns him against the wall. He cleanses, but he gets hit by the wall right after. As soon as they take down Yeon, they know it is done. It is dusted. Cloud9 charge forward, take the series.
Cloud9 bouncing back from that defeat they suffered at the hands of FlyQuest ever so quickly. They looked massive today.
And now Cloud9 has a rematch set against FlyQuest as they move forward. This third game was certainly the best look we saw from Team Liquid today. It really looked like they had a solid chance to take us further, take us to a Game 4, maybe to a Game 5. But Azael, I think you rightfully called it out. Loki with the hero buster shot. Sometimes a game of League of Legends is determined by one fight.
Yep.
Sometimes it's determined by one play. Sometimes it's determined by one press of one button, and that is what we saw in that dragon fight from Loki there.
And I think, it really did come down to these last couple fights. People can be critical, will be critical of APA for getting caught here, but at the same time, he had so many incredible engages, right, throughout this game that I think put them into this good position that created the space for Yeon to make things happen. And this is just really good CD tracking from TL, or rather from C9, knowing that TL don't have all their summoners, that Yeon is missing his flash, and Thanatos is just going to full send it on him.
Yep, and Cloud9, when they've got the Maokai ultimate ready to rip, they do. Blaber turns it. Thanatos already on the flank with a target on Yeon's back. Chases him to the ends of the earth. And since you see Loki in the back here getting his reset off of that first kill, he can jump up to follow Thanatos' pressure on Yeon and ensure that they have enough to finish off every single member and end the game.
Exactly, and they knew the only person that mattered is Yeon. He flashes in, finishes him off, and Loki's right there with him.
It's a clean sweep for C9, and now we're joining Kangas at the fan zone for an interview.
Thank you very much. I have Blaber here live. Congratulations on the series win, a 3-0. When are we going to get a 5-game series? Obviously not now, but I feel like you just denied the fans something. Do you have a message for them? We're looking for the 5th game.
I mean, hopefully they get in the lower bracket. They play next week, I believe. But yeah, I mean, I would rather 3-0 than, have a 5-game series. But if I'm guaranteed I'm going to win the 5-game series, then I'm down.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Well, it was a 5-game series against Team Liquid, who have this 6-man jungle situation going on. You had to play against Yuuji and Umpty today. So what was your preparation coming into this series?
To be honest, we didn't really prep any differently for Yuuji or Umpty. We know that Yuuji prefers to play the more aggressive champs, the more carry champs, and Umpty likes the more facilitating champs. But to be honest, Umpty can play all the champs. You saw him play Nocturne here. He's played Lilia before in the past in the Fury, right? So to be honest, we were just prepping the same, regardless of who we were playing against.
Do you feel like you felt a difference from them on stage today?
I think with Yuuji, they are more predictable. They have less X factor. I would say that Umpty is a lot more creative. I think sometimes he does int, but for me, it's a lot harder to play against Umpty, just because he does make good plays and he can win his team the game. He can also lose the team the game, but it's harder against someone, I feel like, that has more of an X factor in that way.
Well, I mean, we were talking about the difference. You're one of the jungle GOATs in North America. Yuuji's had a couple of stage games now. Do you have any advice for him or any thoughts based on his first couple of games?
I mean, I think he'll have a pretty good career. I think he, is very consistent as a player. I think when he plays more, he'll kind of know more on what to do in the game. Like, I'm sure his team is teaching him, and I think he'll be good.
All right, well, we'll be watching very closely. But next up for Cloud9, still in the upper bracket, you get a rematch versus FlyQuest. I want to get your thoughts because it was not that close in the last best of 3. So what are your thoughts going into that? What are you going to do differently this time?
I mean, to be honest, I kind of just played really bad last time. I was having a really bad series. And we also just didn't play so great. Like, the first game, my Vi game, I feel like we should have won, guaranteed on that Drake fight. We lose, and then it just snowballs like really poorly. We just keep chain inting, and then game 2, I personally like ran it down. So I think that I just had an off series, but I think this time around it'll be a lot more competitive versus FlyQuest.
So you got the ints out of the way is what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
All right, it's better to do it when it doesn't matter as much. I have one final thing for you right here because summer's about to come. That means school's out, and we actually have some of the jungle GOATs of the region along with all the active players. Now, I would love to see if you can take your little icon here. Which table are you sitting at, Blaber? We have a lot of options, obviously, like Xsmithy, Dardot, Contracts, the old CLG ones. We got one, I think Kobe's in there. Yeah. Are you seeing one that you're feeling?
I mean, it's kind of close between this one and this one.
Okay, yeah, so you're thinking inspired?
Well, it's more so Darlick and Svenskeren were the junglers that I looked up to when I was first playing the game. They were the ones like I watched a lot. So, yeah, but I would probably choose this one because Santorin's also my boy. So I'll sit here.
Shout out Santorin with Svenskeren and Inspired. Thank you so much, Blaber. Congratulations on the win. This is where he's sitting. Now let's get the thoughts from the lounge.